Welcome back, my dear students. Today we'll go to the second part of antiarrhythmic drugs, where we will be dealing the drugs used in the treatment of arrhythmias. So, what is cardiac arrhythmia? As I told you earlier, it is deviation from normal rhythm of the heart. Or cardiac arrhythmia can be defined as any disturbance of electrical rhythm of the heart. Also, they are manifested as a structural heart disease, or it may occur because of some abnormal conduction or depolarization in otherwise a normal healthy heart. Either structural defect in the heart, or can be in a normal heart having abnormal conduction or depolarization. Now, what are the factors that will precipitate arrhythmia in a normal heart? Cardiac ischemia, first cause cardiac ischemia, then a structural heart disease, hypoxia, acidosis or alkalosis, electrolyte disturbances, excessive catecholamine exposure, exposure to toxic substance, and also a few unknown etiologies, unknown cause can also present or precipitate arrhythmias. Now, why should we treat arrhythmia? Why can't we just leave it alone like that? No, arrhythmia can lead to serious complications like heart failure. It can lead to sudden cardiac death, syncope, and stroke. These are the four manifestations or complications that can occur if arrhythmia are not treated at appropriate time. Finally, the result will be death if you don't treat them. Coming to the pharmacological rationale and goals that we should achieve while treating patients with arrhythmia. The ultimate goal for the drug therapy is to restore the normal sinus rhythm and conduction. If there is any abnormality in the rhythm, we will maintain the rhythm first, then prevent serious and possible lethal arrhythmias from occurring. ആദ്യം ഉണ്ടായ arrhythmia prevent ചെയ്യുക, പിന്നെ further ഉണ്ടാവുന്നതിൽ നിന്നും prevent ചെയ്യുക. These are the two ultimate goals of antiarrhythmic therapy. Now, antiarrhythmic drugs are used to decrease the conduction velocity, to change the duration of effective refractory period, and suppress the abnormal automaticity. Now, what is effective refractory period? The gap in the action potential, the distance between the phase 0 and phase 3. That gap is known as effective refractory period. Coming to our topic, so drugs used in the treatment of arrhythmias. The classification has a name, that is Vaughan-Williams classification, and it is divided into 4 classes, that is class 1, class 2, class 3, and class 4. Here each classes are based on few ion inhibitors. First one is the class 1, which is sodium channel blocker. So, class 1 drugs will inhibit sodium channel. As I told you, sodium channels are involved in the phase 0. So, the action will be changed in the slope of phase 0. It can be used to terminate most of the tachyarrhythmias which are caused by re-entry circuits. Now, class 2 antiarrhythmic drugs are nothing but beta blockers. I hope you all can remember something under anti-adrenergic drugs, that is our beta blockers. What they do is decrease the heart rate and conduction velocity. Our aim was in antiarrhythmic drugs are conduction velocity decrease. So they decrease the heart rate and conduction velocity. This can indirectly alter the potassium and calcium conductance. Now, class 3 drugs. Class 3 drugs are those which inhibits the potassium channels. Potassium channel blockers are otherwise known as class 3 drugs. They increases the action potential duration, APD, or the effective refractory period. I told you the line. I'll show you in the next slides which area is known as APD. And also they delay repolarization. These property will help in decreasing or inhibiting the re-entry or tachycardia, re-entry phenomenon or re-entry circuit plus tachycardias. Coming to the fourth group, that is calcium channel blocker. Here there is if calcium channels are blocked, that in the Plato phase, if they are blocked, there is slow rate of rise in the phase 4 and phase 4 of SA node. This thereby decreasing the conduction velocity in SA and AV node. Coming to the first group, class 1. Class 1, as I told you, it is nothing but sodium channel blockers. Now, class 1 drugs are further divided into 1A, 1B, 1C. 1A and 1B together, all the 3 acts on sodium channels, but 1A and 1B, if you see, they act on open sodium channels or inactivated sodium channels only, and have very little activity on the potassium channel blockade. Okay. All the three, 1A, 1B, 1C, they decrease the conduction velocity in the nodal tissues, that includes the atria, ventricles and Purkinje fibers. So here class 1 drugs are nothing but sodium channel blockers acting on open sodium channel or inactivated sodium channels only. Because why I said like this, because when they are when these drugs are used when many sodium channels are opened or inactivated. In tachycardia, they remain open and inactive, because in normal rhythm, these channels are at rest state, so that these drugs does not work. Only in tachycardia, the sodium channel appears to be opened or inactivated, or else in normal sinus rhythm, it always are in the rest phase. Okay. The difference can be seen in this picture. See, this is the open channel and this is the inactivated one, but this is the resting phase. So sodium channels, the antiarrhythmic class 1 drugs acts only in the opened or inactivated channel, while in normal sinus rhythm they are in the resting phase. This is the resting phase of the sodium channel. Coming to the drugs under 1A, class 1A. 3 drugs are there: quinidine, procainamide, diisopyramide. Quinidine, procainamide, diisopyramide. Now, what are the special features of 1A? As I told you, these drugs inhibit sodium channels, especially the inactivated and open sodium channels. What happens when sodium channels are blocked? Slowing the rate of rise in phase 0. Slowing the rate of rise in phase 0. Phase 0 means this. See, sodium channel is being inhibited, so the rate will decrease. Have a moderate potassium channel blockade. They increase the action potential. This is the increasing. This increases the action potential and ERP. Okay, effective refractory period. Now they decrease the slope of phase 0. They decrease the slope of phase 0, spontaneous depolarization, and also it increases the QRS and QT in ECG. So what are the 3 drugs under 1A? It is nothing but quinidine, procainamide and diisopyramide. We'll go in detail with each drug. First drug, quinidine. I hope you might have heard the name of this drug at least in some MCQs at least. Quinidine in your first chapters in general pharmacology or general pharmacology. Okay. Quinidine is nothing but an anti-malarial drug which has antipyretic property plus skeletal muscle relaxant with atropine-like actions. Now it is the first antiarrhythmic drug used to treat both atrial and ventricular arrhythmias, which increases the refractory period. Now it is used orally, blocks activated sodium channel and decreasing the slope of phase 0 and phase 4. Now it also moderates, since I told you these for 1A has moderate inhibiting property on potassium channel. So it inhibits the potassium current and increases phase 3 associated with increased mortality. Coming to the side effects of quinidine, cardiac side effects, what all happens in cardiac? See, it increases the QT interval or QT prolongation, twisting of peaks in the ECG, which is otherwise known as Torsades pointis. Now, also it has pro-arrhythmogenic effects, that is, even though it is an antiarrhythmic drug, it can produce arrhythmias, and also AV block and asystole. That is all present at a very high or toxic doses. So when you give quinidine to a patient, the plasma concentration should always be, or there should be always a therapeutic monitoring of the drug, that it does not go above the toxic normal level. Then coming to extra cardiac side effects, it includes GIT, that is diarrhea, nausea and vomiting. Synchronism is when there is increase of amount of quinidine in the plasma, that can lead to headache, dizziness, confusion with tinnitus, deafness and blurring of vision. Now quinidine syncope is because of ventricular arrhythmia. As I told you, quinidine in cardiac it can cause prolonged QT leading to ventricular arrhythmias, and this leads to syncope and lightheadedness with fainting. This drug should be used with caution. Continuous therapeutic monitoring is required with quinidine. Coming to procainamide, the second drug. So the first drug was quinidine. Now the second drug, procainamide. In procainamide is given intravenously, which will cause slow conduction in the accessory pathways and can be used in WPW-wide syndrome, where there is accessory pathway producing multiple impulses. Okay, so WPW syndrome is nothing but Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. It can be used in arrhythmia associated with bypass tract, associated with SLE like symptoms, arthralgia, fever, pleural pericardial inflammation. That is, if you use procainamide, such pictures are seen. That is SLE like symptoms, and also ANA can be positive here. It all resolves once you stop the drugs. So procainamide is a drug which can cause SLE like symptom. Okay. Coming to class 1B, we just got over with 1A, quinidine, procainamide, diazopyramide, identiques, but quinidine and procainamide. Coming to class 1B, under class 1B, the drugs are lidocaine, mexiletine, and tocainide. We will be discussing lidocaine and mexiletine. Okay. Here in class 1B, what happens is they shorten the phase 3 repolarization. Phase 3 repolarizer, this is being shortened and decreases the duration of action potential. They also suppress arrhythmias caused by abnormal automaticity. That is, abnormal spontaneous emissions can also be suppressed by class 1B drugs. They show slow rapid association and dissociation, weak effect with sodium channels with appreciable degree of use of dependence, and no effect on conduction velocity. First 1A decreased the conduction velocity. Here 1B has no property or effect on conduction velocity, except for it can suppress the spontaneous abnormal automaticies. It can suppress arrhythmia produced by abnormal automaticies. Okay. The drugs are lidocaine and lidocaine. Lidocaine is similar to lignocaine, which act as a local anesthetic, which will block our sodium channel mostly in the ventricular cells, and also good for digitalis induced arrhythmias. Now digitalis can also cause ventricular arrhythmias. The drug of choice for digitalis induced arrhythmia, we give lignocaine. Now mexiletine is another oral lidocaine derivative with similar activity. Another very important 1B drug is phenytoin, which is an anticonvulsant. Anticonvulsant means drugs which are used for seizures, that works as similar antiarrhythmic property similar to lidocaine. As we all said, there is earlier slide കാണിച്ച properties ആണ് ഈ പറയുന്ന മൂന്ന് ഡ്രഗ്സും കാണിക്കുക, lidocaine, mexiletine and phenytoin. Coming to lidocaine, the T-half of lidocaine is 1 to 1.5 hours. That is, within 2 hours the T-half gets over, and this is always given with the IV loading dose followed by IV infusion. Now, so lidocaine is always IV. It will block both the activated and inactivated sodium channel, decrease the slope of phase 0 and phase 4, which is common to all the class 1 group, and the dosage will be bolus for 50 to 100 milligram, then 4 milligram per minute for 30 minutes, and 2 milligram per minute for 2 hours, and then 1 milligram per minute for 24 hours. The main use is ventricular arrhythmias following MI. When after MIs, few people will experience ventricular arrhythmias. For such patients, we prescribe lidocaine. So we are under the class. We are still in class 1 only. Class 1 le 1B. The first drug, lidocaine. Now, why after MI? As I told you, there is ventricular arrhythmias after MI. Now, in an ischemic myocardium with reduced membrane potential, voltage and time dependent recovery of sodium channel from inactivation is delayed. As 1B current will bind to the inactivated channel, binding is significantly increased. This helps in preventing the arrhythmia. Coming to the side effects of lidocaine, The first CNS side effects includes drowsiness, numbness, paresthesia, slurred speech, difficulty in swallowing, convulsions, nystagmus, tremor, and diplopia. In heart, cardiac side effects includes AV block and decreased contractility. Now, when you see there is a lot of side effects in antiarrhythmic drugs, so all the antiarrhythmic drugs are given only under caution or continuous follow-up. Okay. Coming to the last class last subdivision of class 1, that is 1C. Two drugs under 1C, that is flecainide and propafenone. So flecainide and propafenone. Here also, as I told you, class 1 drugs blocks the sodium channels, very slow unbinding, and it results in QRS prolongation if you see in the ECG. Limited use due to concerned toxicity, especially the pro-arrhythmic effects. That is, 1C is not used commonly. Why? Because it has pro-arrhythmic effect and pro-arrhythmic effects due to its toxicity. And also it is used in patients with structurally normal heart, plus it is effective in reducing recurrence of atrial fibrillation. If you compare the first class 1A and 1B, 1C is very less used. Two drugs that comes under 1C is flecainide and propafenone. Coming to flecainide, initially it was developed as a local anesthetic drug. Then, since it had potent sodium blocking property, that led to decreased action potential, and also it has some property on blocking the potassium channels, which help to prolong the AP. So, if you see, the net change will be net result with no change, but it helped in reducing conduction to all parts of the heart. Also, it inhibits the abnormal automaticity, that is, self-generated impulses were inhibited. Hence it was used in antiarrhythmics. Now it also has pro-arrhythmogenic effects. It can be reversed, reserved for drugs. Sorry, it can be reversed, not reversed, reserved for life-threatening SVAs, supraventricular arrhythmias or ventricular arrhythmias in patients without myocardial structural abnormalities. Now, if you say this is also not used as common as the earlier 1A or 1B. Propafenone, the next drug. Very similar structure to propranolol. What is propranolol? Our beta blocker, non-selective beta blocker. So it has a weak beta blocking activity, also some calcium channel blockade, which slows the conduction. Used in ventricular arrhythmias and supraventricular arrhythmias. Its spectrum of action is similar to that of flecainide. The adverse effect includes metallic taste and constipation. And finally, the dose is 150 mg 3 times daily for 1 week. Then the dose is increased to 300 twice daily. So, feeling exhausted hearing all the names? Okay, so I'll finish the class over here with class 1 group of antiarrhythmic drugs. We'll just have a small recap. First one, what is the cardiac action potential with respect to the sodium, with respect to the ions in the cells. Second, you should remember or recollect the classification of antiarrhythmic drugs, what is the name. And third, you should remember what is class 1 drugs, their mechanism of action and their classifications, 1A, 1B and 1C with their respective drugs. Thank you, and please mark your attendance below. Next class I'll be taking class 3 drugs. Class 2, as I told you, it is beta blockers, which you have studied earlier, so I will not be dealing with class 2 or beta blockers. I'll be just giving us a rough summary, but next class will be class 3 and class 4. Okay.